Do you support Donald Trump?
I do.
Okay. Why do you support Donald Trump?
So the first reason why I support Donald Trump is because of the mass deportations.
Okay. Why do you support mass deportations?
Yeah, about like a few weeks ago, I think it was Bill Gates had his interview where he was saying that in like a couple of months they'll be rolling out AI for like self-driving cars. And a lot of like truck drivers are going to be like, out of a job. And apparently a lot of truck drivers in America that actually drive trucks are like Afro-American like people who drive trucks. So I'm not sure I said it correctly, but it's one of the industries that has the most American workers in it. So we're about to have a lot of people like out of a job pretty soon, and with AI like getting bigger and bigger, we're gonna have more people like losing their jobs. So you're gonna need like more jobs for people to have. So like it's best to like get rid of like the immigrants. Sorry, illegal immigrants or how you want to say it, so there have to be more jobs in America for American born people. Does that make sense?
I don't think that deportation leads to more jobs for American-born individuals. I think it leads to less jobs, actually, because there's less people living within the economy, and which would then be demanding goods and services, therefore decreasing the amount of jobs in the economy. So, actually, I would argue that immigration not being present to the same degree is actually worse for the economy, and immigration being present to a greater degree would actually be better for the economy.
Okay, so AI is happening, right? Like we're gonna have a lot of people with self-driving cars lose their jobs. Like, what are they supposed to do once that comes about?
Repeat what you just said, sorry?
Sorry, so AI is happening. We about to have a lot of people lose their jobs once they have self-driving cars, like for truck drivers who like bring stuff
Yeah,
across state lines and stuff like that.
I'm not
They're
disputing that.
about to
I'm not disputing that. I'm
so they're
confused.
about to lose their they're
Go on.
about to lose their jobs. They're gonna need like a new job. So if we get rid of like the illegal immigrants that are here now, it'll make more jobs for
No,
them once they lose their jobs. Does that make sense?
no, it actually will decrease the amount of jobs that there are, like I just mentioned. And if you want to
How
reference
so?
like AI, like being prevalent, again, if you want to respond to AI, that would require more regulation, and that would also require like better standards for workers, right? In order for you to maintain the same level of standards for workers that have existed prior. Otherwise, standards would decline, right? Given that it is the case that, again, workers don't have as much bargaining power within the market.
Yeah, I know. I guess you say illegal immigrants don't have as much like of a say because they're illegal, so people pay them whatever they want to pay them, which is a bad thing. I
Undocumented.
totally agree with that.
You should so we
Sorry,
should give them
undocumented
so then we
immigrants.
should give them a pathway to citizenship. So if we give them a pathway to citizenship, then it will specifically lead to them being able to be treated better from a legal perspective.
Okay, so if you have a lot of people who, because okay, I'm not trying to be like mean or anything, but I feel like majority of the, undocumented immigrants who come in, they're more like lower class as far as like the jobs they take are more like blue collar type jobs. My point is that like once AI in a few months gets a little bit better and like they start getting rid of these jobs, you're gonna have American people who are also blue collar who will need these jobs as well. If I don't understand why you're saying that uh, with AI it would you have less blue collar jobs, not more blue collar jobs. Now, if you have like people who come in through like the university process, like you go to school here and then like you get a degree and you look for a job. That's totally different. I'm totally for that. We had a lot at my university when I was back in Louisiana.
Okay.
Some about people who come in who are like more like blue collar workers.
Are
So
you trying to say that immigrants are going to be negatively impactful to the job market?
yeah, it's for blue collar workers
Could
that
you
they
provide
are now.
could
And
you
then
provide any good
when
evidence of
it's
that?
well, like correct me if I'm wrong, majority of the workers who come in are like farmers and construction workers, stuff like that, right? In Utah, where I currently live at, I know a lot of people come in and they do construction, and they work at like the resorts, I believe. We have a lot of those from different countries that come to Utah for ski season and work at the resorts, and they're kind of like more like blue collar workers. Is that not a fact?
I'm not following you at all. You're not really providing me any good reason to believe that like immigrants coming to the country are somehow going to lead to worse labor conditions. We have yet to see any good evidence of this. I've looked at plenty of studies. No economists I've seen indicates this to be true to a massive scale, right? That is accepted like broadly within the economic community.
So I'm not like I don't know much about the economic. I'm being honest with you, but just like on a logical, like I don't know, if you just look at the situation where like you have a group of people who's about to be displaced from working with more AI advances, they're going to be displaced from working, and you have people coming in from other countries who also want those same kind of jobs. Like there's only so many jobs. It's just kind of like obvious thing if you just look at the situation. You have two sets of people fighting for the same job, or you will be. Does that make sense?
What you're not understanding is that they're not just competing for the supply of jobs, they're also providing demand for new jobs to be created. So there will be more jobs within the economy. So you're only looking at one of the aspects of how more people coming to the country could impact us. Wouldn't this also be true for people who are being born? Are you saying we should have less people born?
Well, I feel like and I could be wrong, the rate of people being born is probably offset by the rate of people who pass away. So that's probably like, you have people being born, you also have people going in retirement, or people who pass away as well. That's probably like even out.
Did you understand what I said?
Yeah, you
Can you
said
repeat
that
what I said?
you can compare. Yeah, you said that my argument is the same as like people being born, like oh, people being born, so they don't want to have jobs to be competing for the same resources. I'm assuming that's what you're
No,
saying.
I'm saying you're saying that like there being more people within the economy means there's more people competing for the same level of resources, right? Instead of acknowledging that there's an increase in the level of resources, given that there's more people within the context of the economy, along the fact that there's a greater demand for more resources as well, therefore creating an incentive for there to be more supply for jobs, right? But I mean, I'm confused what your point is.
So wait, just to repeat, you're saying that when you have more immigrants, as far as also more people losing their jobs and competing for the same jobs, to have more resources to be
Can,
more
can, can you
jobs.
stop
That's
repeating the same thing over and over again? I've responded to this multiple times. They're not competing for the same jobs. There's more jobs that exist because it is a case that there's more people within the economy demanding goods and services, which then creates a pressure for companies to provide more laborers, right? Or not provide more laborers, provide more jobs.
okay. Fair enough. I'll concede. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I'm not really
What do
good
you not
on.
agree with what I'm saying here? Hello, you cut out.
Yeah, sorry, someone called me. I didn't hear what you say. Can you repeat that?
So why don't you agree with what I'm saying?
Oh, honestly, I took like maybe one or two economic classes in university, so I'm not the biggest on that subject. So you could be right, to be honest with you, when it comes to that.
No, but like, why do you disagree?
Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna repeat what I just said, which you didn't like beginning with, but I guess the reason why I disagree, just in my mind, this I guess it doesn't really make sense if you have two sets of people competing for the same jobs. I get you're saying that it'll be more people living here, I suppose, and more people means that you need more resources, so you have people building more houses. But you said earlier in one of your debates that people that are immigrants who are undocumented, they can't buy houses anyway, so I don't think they're competing for like buying new houses. But
That's not what I said.
uh,
So again, when it comes to
in one of
undocumented,
your debates, sorry.
and by the way, that would just be for houses. And also when it relates to this, we're
Mhm.
referencing documented immigrants and immigrants in general, population increase. There's an increase in the demand for goods, and there's an increase in the supply for goods. Does that make sense? It's not just an increase in the supply.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
All right, so the other reason why I support Trump is also for he got Roe versus Wade overturned, which I thought was a good thing.
And why do you think that's a good thing?
So personally, and it has something to do with religion or beliefs, at least for me. I don't believe in like or abortion, uh, this personal opinion. So like I consider life as it's starting when I guess when the fertilized egg is in the I don't know the womb. I consider that when life is started. So like I think anything to stop that is personal opinion. So that's why I was against Roe versus Wade.
You want to stop? That's essentially what it is. Why do you think it's?
Because it is it's ending the life. Life starts somewhere. For me, it starts when the fertilized egg is in the womb.
Oh, wait, so it doesn't start at conception?
Whenever the egg reaches the womb and is fertilized is when I consider life
Wait,
has started.
when it's fertilized or when it implants?
If that's the same thing, I'm not too sure if that's the same thing or
I have a
not, but
question.
whenever,
Where does fertilization occur?
well, it could occur outside of the womb if like you go to like a place to, get it for charity. They fertilize
What?
it outside.
Wait,
I
no,
mean,
I'm asking where in the human body does fertilization occur?
uh, I'm honestly not too sure. Whenever the sperm reaches the egg, I guess it's in the uterus. I'm not
What
really too sure.
you think that it's in the uterus? No. Okay. So,
I honestly, I don't know. Is that sorry?
no. So fertilization happens prior to implantation. Implantation would be when the fertilized egg, right, implants into the uterine wall. That would be the beginning point of pregnancy.
Okay. When you go to
So
like a fertility doctor
so to
and they
clarify,
do the IVF,
so to clarify, fertilization happens within the context of the fallopian tubes.
okay.
Okay, so like, wouldn't that be like an incredibly important aspect to understand maybe prior to like, like saying that people should have restricted access to abortion?
Well, not necessarily. I personal opinion, I don't think so, but maybe you do. That's fair enough.
Okay.
But anyway, like I was saying,
Then
even if you like go, sorry,
yeah, so then I guess my question would then be like, do you think it's wrong for people to engage in the IVF process?
no, I don't. I was just about to say, like,
Like,
even if you go and do that, sorry,
did you know that many patients in IVF, right, each patient specifically, right, will actually lead to a discarding of 7 to 8 embryos, right?
yeah, I'm aware.
Like on average. So if you know that, then you know that it's going to lead to the people under your worldview. So then, do you think IVF should
No,
be
no.
banned?
Again, my world view, sorry, is and again, I mean, I'm not saying this correctly, but because yeah, I'm totally fine with people going to like I know those places, IVF, and that's why I was saying like it could be fertilized outside the human body. So I'm pretty sure that's like a thing because they fertilize it and they put it in the body. I think that's how that works. So I'm not too sure. But no, so like from my point of view, like. If you have like a zygote that's fertilized or however you want to say it, and like it's not inside of a human body, it's not inside of a wound, it doesn't have the ability to grow. So I don't consider that as like if it just gets destroyed, that's kind of bad. But I don't think that's it's like it doesn't have the ability to start growing yet. It can't start growing until it's in the wound. So that's what I
Okay.
consider like
So to
when
clarify,
life starts.
you value it in the womb. So what's the distinction between the zygote? 0.1 second prior to implantation and 0.1 second after implantation. That means it's valuable in one scenario, not the other.
It doesn't have the ability to grow. You can't grow outside the wound.
And it couldn't grow if it doesn't have access to the like resources of the pregnant individual. So why shouldn't the person who has giving them resources be able to cut off those resources? Because then it wouldn't be able to grow by itself.
Yeah, would that be at that point?
Why
Because
would
then
that be?
you're
It can't.
stopping.
You said it's valuable was the ability to grow, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Because it can only
Why is
start
the
growing once
ability?
it's in the womb.
So to clarify, if it was going to stay a zygote within the context of the human body the entire time, then it wouldn't be valuable.
But that's not possible. Like once it gets inside of the human body, it naturally starts growing, right? That's like a natural process.
No, only when it's in certain areas of the human body, specifically like the context of the like it, given that there was implantation prior to that point, right? You would consider it not valuable, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what about it entering the womb specifically leads to it being considerably valuable?
It has the ability to grow. That's like I said earlier. It can grow outside the womb. Once it's in that area where it can start growing, that's it's more natural. It's like I think anything you do to stop it from growing is considered because you're stopping nature at that point.
Wait, if you utilize wait, if you kill the zygote, that stops that from happening. Or how about this? What about women who utilize IUDs? Not only can it prevent fertilization, but it can also prevent implantation, meaning it prevents a fertilized egg from implanting into the uterine wall. So if you would have left it to its particular natural circumstances, it would have led to implantation. But because you have an IUD, right, it prevents that.
So I don't know really anything about IUDs other than what you literally just told me just now.
Hmm.
So based on what you just told me, um, so and make sure I understand. It has the ability to stop a fertilized egg from implanting. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
And without it, it would naturally would have planted and would have grown.
Yeah.
Oh, then I guess that is bad. Then I
So
guess you're
so
right.
so
It
you
would
think
be.
you think every person who has an IUD in the comment section, you think they should go to prison for?
I've never seen anyone to go to prison for an abortion.
Oh, okay. So to clarify, you don't think people who get access to abortions should go to prison?
Um, I think that I don't know some people who do believe that, and I know that's like a really hot topic. I'm gonna say right now, for me personally, no. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Well then you're pro-choice, dude.
I am. How so?
Yeah. If you think it's wrong, but it should be legal and people shouldn't go to prison for it, well then you're pro-choice.
What essentially does it, no legal means that like
Okay. Wait. Then what would
it's
the
okay for
punish?
you to.
Then what would the punishment be?
I think it should be probably more on the doctors who commit the abortion.
Okay. If they
Like
do
it should
it,
be
so
like a
so
thing
if
where like
someone gives
doctors.
themselves an abortion.
Hmm. Um, okay, well, on that same note, if someone were, and you probably get really mad at this argument, I have a feeling you get really mad at this, but if someone like people can step in and like, oh hey, you're not allowed to get locked up for that, right? Yeah, yeah, you can't. I guess it'd be the same as that. You doing an abortion is a form of that's really dangerous from what I'm told. Like you're not supposed to try to abort a baby yourself. It's supposed to be really dangerous.
Wait, but I'm asking you, in that context, should they go to prison or what should happen to them? What's the punishment under your view?
I think it's be the same as a person who they're like locked up until they have some counseling and okay, you
Locked up? You think
okay,
that
well,
people should be locked up?
okay. If you're aren't you put in a place, right?
It,
Don't they
it,
lock
it,
you
it,
up
it
and
depends on
like
the level of for example, if I'm like biting the hangnails off my hand, right, and my finger starts
mhm.
bleeding, right, that I'm engaging in by continuing to do it, but that wouldn't be like a reason I go to like the hospital or get locked up.
Yeah, okay, maybe locked up was a bad word. Sorry. I probably this is my first time ever on my life before, period. First time ever, so sorry, I probably didn't say that correctly. So locked up was probably a bad term. You're correct. I shouldn't say that. I don't know the actual terminology for when a person is like if you're yourself, I
Wait,
do know that they send you to a place. Sorry.
okay, but like again, so if okay, again, if you want to not consider it, then like why don't you let them get medical access to healthcare?
As far as like counseling, like medical, as far as like counseling to like, hey, you're in a situation, these are steps you can take, that kind of medical help.
Yeah, like can they get can they get an abortion pill? Can they
No,
can
that'd
they
still
take
be
that?
that'd still be a baby.
Yeah, okay, but why is that wrong?
Because I think it's wrong. Like
Okay,
you stop
so
someone
so
from like
okay, so
growing.
should go to prison.
Yes, they should go to prison.
Okay, so then anyone who gets an abortion should go to prison.
You really want me to say that, don't you? That's kind of funny.
No, I
Um,
want you to say that you don't think it's because you don't think they should go to prison.
I do think abortion is. I I'm not saying that if you commit a abortion, you should go to jail. I think anything the doctor probably should be because the doctor probably committed a whole bunch of abortions and So a whole bunch of
Wait,
murder.
why
So I
why
think it's a
should why
different
should the
story
doctor go to jail?
because the doctor's the one who actually doing the abortion, and
So?
in the medical field, and I'm not a doctor, but in the medical field, there's this thing, do no harm. It's like the very first thing doctors do no harm, and you're literally harming a life. So yeah, I think that's really bad.
You're harming a pregnant individual by not allowing them to get access to an abortion. You're not doing any harm to a non-sentient embryo. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know that
What is
you
harm?
and
What is harm?
your harm is like you're stopping a life from growing. You're stopping something from becoming a living thing or baby. You're stopping it.
Yeah, but like again, like that's not like harm because it's not like when you say you're harming someone, right? You're going to
Mm.
reference some type of experience, right? Or being that's being harmed that you would say has some sort of personhood, right? In this connotation, right? There what is there that you would consider a person?
Right. So I think in your worldview, you believe in the whole sentencing, right? And you believe that you have to be able to experience something in the past and present for it can be considered living. Is that correct?
Past or present and future subjective experience is the condition for personhood. It's living at conception in a cellular sense. It's not living in a sentient sense until 20 through 24 weeks in the womb.
Yeah. Yeah. So you only consider it, I guess, alive or important once it gets to 24 weeks. I heard you made this argument before. Um, I- it's kind of interesting, at least from my point of view, because I get your concept of like, it's not a sentient being yet. It's just like, cells, single organism, whatever. But I just feel like it has to start somewhere. Like life has to start somewhere. And from my point of view, the reason why I consider it once it's like in the womb where it starts growing
That's
is
not when
because
life
it's like,
begins. Biologists determine when life begins, not you. All right. Do you really think you're better than
okay,
biologists at determining when life begins? Are you serious?
I never said I was. I
Okay.
didn't
Okay.
even
Well,
like
then why are
argue with
you
you when you made your comment.
establishing? Then why were you establishing life begins at the beginning of pregnancy rather than life beginning at conception and or sentience?
I think for Okay, so I think for each person, they have their own definition of when life begins because, like, mainly because of like religion and spiritual stuff, people have different religions, people have different spirituality. Because of that, people view human life differently than like a person who's a biologist would view it or a doctor would view it, I suppose. So that's why I think that one's a little bit different, if that makes sense to you.
No, 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 no. Can you repeat what you just said?
Okay, so because of like religion and because of spirituality,
Hmm.
people believe differently when it comes to when human life begins. For some people, it's like I don't know, at conception. Some people it's like you in 24 after 24 weeks or something like that. But because of that, people have different like opinions or beliefs on when life actually begins for a human. So I think it's a little bit unfair to say because I'm not a biologist. I never said I was or nurse I know more than a boss and everything. I know more than a doctor. But I think because of spirituality and because of religion, people have different opinions of when life starts. I think it's a little unfair to
That's not a
say.
good basis for determining when life starts. You should go to biologists and facts and evidence.
So you completely disregard people like spiritual and relational beliefs or experiences when it comes to when life begins. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, religion does not determine when life begins.
Okay, well, I'm gonna disagree with you on that, just because like I think it's different for each person. I think
But
for each person is
what
sorry.
biologists and scientific professionals are going to be the best suited towards identifying when life begins, not religion.
Okay, so I know you're an atheist, but man, you really are.
Wait, by
That's
the
really
way,
interesting. That
that's not even an atheistic take. You can be a Christian, you can believe in any religion and still say that.
fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
Sure. So like why don't you believe that? I mean, you believe in evolution, you believe dinosaurs existed, you believe in all those different scientific facts. Why not this one?
That life begins 24 weeks. Is it 24 weeks? I'm sorry, after
That cellular
conception.
life begins at conception and sentient life begins 20 through 24 weeks.